that was amazing. Um, had a chat with our friend Palden from Bodhicharya, Kent, um, who is a monk who practices Tibetan Buddhism, and it was just incredible. The insights he shared, the kindness and compassion that he expresses, is just amazing. I'm deeply grateful to be given an opportunity to have such a wonderful one-to-one experience that not only I'm going to benefit from, but also people sitting here viewing it now. We talk about how Palden become interested in Buddhism, what his path looked like, and also these things I call golden nuggets that anyone can take away and use, whether now or in the future. I recommend that when you do listen, you listen to similarities or and not differences or things that sit with you. Take them. Anything that doesn't, just let it go. It was a really powerful, inspirational talk, and I thank Powden for your time today because yeah, it was an amazing experience. There's definitely things I've learned in our conversation that I'm going to be taking away with me when we go traveling, and hopefully others will benefit from it too. Yeah, it's incredible. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Okay, progress.
Hey, there you go. We're here. We're here.
Yeah,
Um, Thank you,
cool.
Palden, for joining us today. I'm deeply grateful for your kind of support. As you know, I've just started a YouTube channel and it's called The Quiet Path. So the
Yeah.
idea around The Quiet Path is to document as we go traveling, but it's going to have like a mindful Buddhist outlook and approach. So some people that are watching may be Buddhist, some people may not be Buddhist. So far, what I'm going to do is like a side series of different interesting and inspiring people and give them kind of an opportunity to share their experience and their wisdom. And I thought, who better to ask than our monk Bodhicharya than Palden yourself. So thank you again. I'm deeply grateful for you to come along. So I've just got a couple of questions. I want it to be kind of relaxed, not like an interview, but more of a casual chat, if you like.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously I know you from Bodhicharya, Kent. You've supplied endless amount of wisdom into the meetings that I've been to. So that's from my perspective is a very short introduction, I guess. But would you mind just introducing yourself as to who you are and yeah, how you came to be where you are right now?
Okay. That's a very long story because I'm quite an
Mm.
old man now. Um, okay, my name is Palden Sultan Yunten. That's my monk's name. Um, so I first took ordination from Rinpoche Rinpoche in 2018, and then full ordination in 2024 from Taisi Tupa in India.
Mhm.
Um, But my interest in Buddhism goes way back to when I was at school, actually, when
Oh wow.
Buddhism was very much very fashionable in the
Hmm.
1960s.
Hmm.
And so I started reading books by people like Alan Watts and various other people. I'll try and keep this short. So,
Okay.
but I was investigating lots of different things at the time.
Hmm.
Um, but the Buddhist teachings really resonated with me. So I, in the end,
Hmm.
concentrated on Buddhism, but I went through lots of different other things, including Western Hermeticism, Kabbalah, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Um, just really sort of searching for things before I settled into Buddhism. Rather controversially, I will mention this because it might resonate with some people. Uh, at the time, I did quite a lot of experimentation with psychedelic drugs,
Hmm.
which was always this. I was part of a group, and our aim or our motivation was to investigate the mind,
Hmm.
which was a sort of very much a Buddhist approach, actually,
Yeah.
although we didn't know it at the time. I only because we were very careful. Um, And I stress that that's really important because these are really powerful
Mm.
substances. Uh, I never had a bad experience,
Hmm.
but it's very interesting because the experiences I had very much resonated with what I later came to study
Wow.
in Buddhism. So there was an affirmation there, a
Hmm.
personal affirmation, which was quite important. But this all started for me at the age of 7 when I had an experience, a spontaneous experience, which I won't go into the detail,
Mm.
but it was very profound experience. I was just a child at the time. I didn't really understand what was happening. But again, it was an experience which later on was affirmed by Buddhist teachings.
Mm.
So there's been a sort of thread in my life which
Mm.
was not planned.
Yeah. Interesting.
Um, it is interesting. Um, and cut a long story short, I mean, I really, when I met Ringu Tuku, I realized that I had finally, after many, many years, found the right teacher.
Mm.
It took me a
Hmm.
long time, but that's
Yeah.
not the problem. You know, if you get there in the end, it doesn't matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to take ordination and, yeah, become a monk and do what I could for Rinpoche and Bodhicharya.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing that, it sounds like you had a bit of a difficult time when you were younger or whatever it was
Well,
that
it wasn't
happened.
difficult. No, it wasn't
Or is
difficult.
it right?
No,
It was
it
more of a
wasn't. I mean, I've always been an unconventional person. I spent most of my life traveling as a musician,
mm, awesome.
so I've always been quite nomadic
Yeah. Yeah.
and never really looked for security in that in the normal sense of the
Mm,
way people look for security. You know, jobs, family, blah blah blah,
yeah. Yeah.
and all that stuff. So I've always been a bit of it wasn't a difficult, no, it wasn't a
Right.
difficult time. It was a time of exploration,
Yeah.
but it was motivated by the experience I had at the age of 7, which
Yeah, that's what I yeah.
taught me fearlessness, actually.
Yeah, good.
It gave
That's
me strength.
that's what I was referring to was that experience that you had when you were 7.
Yeah.
And yeah. Um and you speak about the fearlessness and I can very much relate to that in terms of um or for me, from my experience, I think I went through a difficult time and then I found Buddhism that way and was seeking for some kind of peace of mind. And I feel like it's really helped me with you know, my mind could become very, like jumping around, if you like, but now it's
Mm,
allowed me to find a lot of peace, which is beautiful. Um, Obviously you spoke about Rinpoche Rinpoche, being your teacher and you said he was the right teacher for you after seeking. And I've met Rinpoche Rinpoche before as well, and he does have a real presence around him and an incredible wisdom, and he manages to hold a room in such a kind of magical way, if you like. What
yeah.
is it how would you describe your experience with Rinpoche Rinpoche, and how would you say that he is the right person? You know, how would people find someone that is right for them, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I've always felt with Rinpoche that he was totally on top of everything, relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
kind. I've never seen
Mm.
him flustered.
No.
Um, and the way he delivers his teachings is very accessible
Mm.
to everybody. I mean, he is a highly qualified uh, teacher,
Mm.
but he never uses jargon, or very
Yeah.
rarely anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
He always brings things down, or not down, but brings things to a useful and everyday level.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that he doesn't teach. I've found that when I listen to his teachings, he actually teaches very advanced teachings, but in a very accessible way.
Yeah. And he
And I've
makes
never
it very
found a
good.
teaching like that.
Yeah. And
But
I
I mean,
found it very,
especially, sorry, just especially for me, being in
mm,
his presence, I just feel totally at ease and open and
yeah.
uh, relaxed and capable and fearless.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the special thing about Rinpoche Rinpoche is, you're obviously quite experienced in the world of Buddhism, if you like. And I still think I'm relatively new, yet I can still, as you said, like his teaching is very kind of easy but advanced. So I feel like
Mm.
I can relate to a lot of what he says as well, even though I'm quite early on my own path, you know. So I think that kind of is what we're saying with Rinpoche being so special, where he can, um, get people to engage and really influence people's lives in a positive way. And I think something that I've always taken away is he'll always say, it's along the lines of, don't take what I say as gospel. Like you must go and research
Yeah,
your own thing, which I think is again an inspiring trait to have, you know.
yeah.
Um,
But that's going back to the original teachings of the Buddha, who
mm,
said the same thing.
mm,
He said, "Don't take what I say as like gospel.
hmm
Test everything.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like he said, like a goldsmith tests gold for
Mm,
purity. Test it
mm,
yourself." And
yeah,
I've always liked that about the Buddhist path is that
yeah,
it's a practical path and does not rely on blind faith or
no,
dogma.
hmm
Everything can be questioned, and
mm,
Rinpoche can be questioned. And Rinpoche loves
yeah,
people asking
he
questions,
does. Yeah,
you know.
very special.
And to me, that's very healthy,
Mm,
I think, you know.
yeah,
And
definitely.
as for beginners or whatever, I think it's important, from my point of view, I think to maintain, uh, not to try and place yourself in a position on the path, as it were, but to maintain what in Zen is called a beginner's mind,
hmm
and assume that you know nothing
hmm Yeah,
in a way.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's very easy to get tied up in knots, conceptual knots, or subtle pride. You
yeah,
know, oh, I'm a great practitioner. I've been doing it for so
yeah,
long,
yeah.
and all this
And
nonsense.
the ego and stuff
Well,
like that.
we are
Yeah.
all samsaric beings, and as such, we are all in the same boat,
Mm,
all of us. You know,
agree.
uh,
Agree.
I would say the great teachers probably are advanced
Mm,
practitioners compared to us, but the general sangha, we're all the same.
yeah,
You know,
that's beautifully put. Thank you.
in that respect. So I think then you can keep a fresh mind in that way.
Mm, interesting. Thank you. Um, so if we were to kind of take it down to, I've got navigating a noisy world. So obviously
Yeah.
the channel is around a bit of traveling in there as well. Um, and also the world as general, like as a general what it's like at the moment. So there's a lot of war going on. There could be a lot of, upsetting sufferings going on in the world. And it can be quite overwhelming sometimes. Um, so what would be your advice for someone who's trying to kind of, I guess, navigate through life or whether they're, a practitioner or not, or um, how would what would your advice be, I guess?
Well, from a Buddhist point of view, that the world has always been chaotic. That's
hmm
samsara, and the nature of samsara is chaos, really. Um, and uh, the thing about the modern world is that we're bombarded all the time by the media, and I would say try not to get emotionally involved
Mm,
with all of this stuff because it's always going to be there, and it takes different forms. I mean, it's taken a very uh, technological form
mm,
in our age.
mm,
Um, so we hear about wars and everything and conflicts that in the past probably people wouldn't have even known about. And in fact,
yeah,
there are wars going on now that we don't hear about because they're not
yeah,
featured in the press.
mm,
You know, but that's always been the case. It was the case in the time of the Buddha. You know, that's why he went on his journey
mm,
to with the quest to end suffering.
mm,
And what we're talking
mhm,
about in all this chaos is basically suffering, which is and the cause of suffering is the root cause of suffering is ignorance, not knowing really how things are and how we are and the nature of ourselves and the nature of our own mind in particular.
mhm,
Um, Advice, I can't really give advice because I think everyone has to find out navigate their own way through this chaos.
yeah,
But I would say try, for me, I try not to get too emotionally involved
Yeah.
with what I hear and try and keep a perspective in that the world has always been chaotic. That's the nature of samsara.
Mm.
And we create our own world by
Yeah.
the way that we react to things.
Thank you. That does
In a
make
way.
sense.
I know it
Yeah.
sounds a bit trite,
No, no, it's
I mean,
amazing.
for me, meditation practice is
Mhm.
essential,
Yep.
and hearing the teachings which reassure and support our
Mm.
practice. So, regular meditation practice, I would say,
Thank
is
you.
a practical way of dealing with
Yeah.
things.
And if we speak about meditation, so meditation is obviously a really powerful experience. Well, from my experience, it's about, becoming more aware of self and seeing kind of what's going on for me. Um, I try and meditate a lot on the cushion as much as I can. Little and often is kind of one of the sayings that I've heard before. In terms
Yeah.
of, say, traveling, there's going to be a lot of chaos along the way when we go. There's going to be busy places. There's going to be, you know, trains, buses, whatever it may be. How does one still have the outlook of, this kind of nice, peaceful mind that you would get in the cushion? How would you do that on a busy day traveling, for example? Have you had
Okay.
any?
I mean, for me, meditation isn't just sitting on the cushion. Meditation
Mhm.
is the way we react
Mm.
to everything that happens. Um, and the key to that is being aware of our reactions. Awareness is key, and relaxation is key
Mm.
as well. And not, it's easy to say, when things get a bit hectic, it's easy to say, "Oh, well, you should be relaxed." Well, it's not so easy to be relaxed
Yeah,
in those
yeah.
circumstances. But if we can just take a step, introduce a little bit of space, take a step and see, okay, this is happening,
Mm.
and I am aware this is happening. Um, to be aware of I think to be aware of our own reactions to what happens, and also to realize time.
Mm.
So there's going to be rough patches, there're going to be smooth patches. That's normal.
Mm.
And particularly, and in travel is really important because I think it's a great educator
Mm.
because it presents us with unexpected things all the time. And that's a wonderful opportunity to practice awareness, really. And to for me to not make everything personal,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Mm.
like focusing on the self and this is happening to me,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Uh, like say for instance, as an example, if I get angry, I try and which doesn't happen that often, I have to say these days,
Mm.
luckily, because I have a very quiet life. But if I get angry or uh, experience a strong emotion of any kind, I will try to think anger is happening, not I
Mm.
am angry.
Yeah,
Anger is happening. It
yeah.
it it is it's an energy, it's a force.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
will pass.
Mm. Yeah. I've heard
Um,
before a similar thing. It's like anger is here. Like you don't identify as that
sorry,
thing as well.
your sound has gone a bit sort of
Oh,
weird.
can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay now. Yeah,
Sorry. I said I've heard before people say, anger is here or anger, has
mm,
arrived or whatever, rather than identifying with it.
yeah,
Um, because it does pass,
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, I interviewed Andy Lowe on Friday and
Oh,
he
yeah.
said,
I saw
yeah,
Andy yesterday, actually. Yeah,
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 very inspirational person. He also said, because I said, oh, what happens when I'm away and I miss people? And he said, well, it will pass, and I was like,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. So,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
strong emotions are strong,
Mm.
but very. I mean, the strongest emotions like anger are strong, but they're
Mm.
very transitory.
What would
They're,
be your, because anger's a good one, right? And a lot of people do experience a lot of anger. I have in the past, for example. And
yeah,
I particularly got quite angry with um, people who had harmed or I felt had harmed me in my past,
yes, yeah, yeah,
in quite a traumatic manner, if you like. And also later on, because I'm an alcoholic and I haven't drunk for a couple of years now. But there's a lot of things that I did where I become angry at myself for the things and the harm that
Yeah.
I'd caused others. So what would be, um, how would you approach that from a Buddhist point of view? How do you let go, if you like, of anger of people and anger towards yourself?
Um, when people become angry at us and we take offense at that, what we're actually doing is we're feeding their anger.
Mm,
It's for me, I think it's all really down to how we react
mm,
to things. There's a famous story, I can't remember who it was now. It's quite modern times. I think it was yeah, Rinpoche said it was one of the great yoga teachers. I can't remember which one. He was on a train in India once, and this guy came up to him, and he was in his robes or whatever, and started really having a go at him.
mm,
Why are you dressed like that? What are you trying to prove? Whatever, you know,
mm,
with great vehemence and anger.
mm,
And he sat there for a little while, and then he said to this person, if someone gives you a gift, or if someone presents you with something and you don't accept it, who does the gift remain with? And the guy thought a little bit and said, well, it remains with the giver. Say, well, I
mm.
don't accept your gift of anger.
Interesting. Yeah, beautiful.
And then the guy thought, well, okay, it's me getting angry. I'm the one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he didn't react in an angry fashion to
Mm,
anger. So he didn't feed the flames of anger.
mhm,
And I think that's quite a good example of how to react to when, if you can, when people have a go at you. You don't
mm,
take on that energy
yeah,
and feed it and react to it. And then
yeah,
there's anger and there's anger
yeah,
on anger, and then you get
yeah,
into a fight.
yeah.
Anger at yourself, what's past is past. There's no
Hmm.
point in dwelling on it.
Yeah.
What we are now is a result of what we did in the past. How we are in the future is a result of what we do now. So now is the key. And that's
Mm,
karma. Karma is dynamic, and karma is action is always happening.
mm,
So if we can be a little bit aware of our actions, of traditionally of body, speech, and mind,
mm,
which covers everything pretty much. I mean, mind, of
yeah,
course, is the
yeah.
prime mover.
Mm. And when you talk about body, speech, and mind, obviously that's kind of ingrained into Buddhism, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And how we approach life and stuff like that. Are there any key teachings that you've learned where you think this is something that I think everyone should know, whether you're a Buddhist or not, or practice
yeah.
maybe?
Rinpoche's key teaching is learn how to relax
Mm,
body, speech, and mind.
mhm,
And he has this lovely phrase: relax in natural awareness. Natural awareness is always there. We're always cognitive of what's happening,
mm,
and that's always there. And that awareness it's often described in Tibetan Buddhism as clarity or even luminescence. It's that essence of knowing,
mm,
cognizance, and that's always there. And if we can relax into that and just allow that to happen, then our habitual reactions are not brought into force because
mm,
a lot of the time the way we react to things is habit, and that's
mm,
that's karma.
mm,
Or the kleshas are produced by karma. Karma. The kleshas are mind poisons. Things that
mm.
are unpleasant.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't have advice for everybody that I could say. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
It's a very personal thing, but
Mm,
the key. Rinpoche has several tiny little nuggets that I remember.
yeah.
One is, yeah, relax,
Mm,
relax, learn how to relax. And the other one is, which sounds a bit weird, but which I really like, is everything is okay, even when it's not okay.
mm. Yeah. And that's so beautiful, isn't it? Because
Mm.
a lot of the time, if something isn't going my way, for example, I think, I don't want this, and I try and avoid it or attach onto something. But I guess what you're saying is just allow whatever's happening to happen, as
Yeah, but
you said.
also, we also have to be sensible about that in the
Mm,
world. You
yeah.
avoid certain things and you do, try and act in a positive way,
Mm. And I think another
and
thing,
avoid things that are negative.
yeah,
That's the relative world we live in.
mm,
That's how we have
yeah,
to deal with things sensibly. You just don't take everything that happens and
yeah,
like a doormat sort of thing.
yeah. And this is something that I learned is that, to be compassionate doesn't mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like to be compassionate doesn't mean to allow everything to come at you, whether it's, if
Yeah,
someone's
yeah,
shouting abuse or whatever it may be. Compassion could
yeah,
be taking yourself out of that situation, or if
yeah,
it's
absolutely. Yeah,
an illegal thing, then report it or whatever it may be. You
yeah,
can still be compassionate in that way. You haven't got to sit there and
yeah,
demonstrate
absolutely.
what
Yeah,
what's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Compassion is a difficult one in a way because the root of compassion is knowing how things are. Because once you know how things are, then you can see when things are going wrong,
Mm,
as it were. And
mm,
um, so we'd have to learn self-compassion as well. It's very
yeah.
important. I don't think we can be compassionate without exercising self-compassion.
Mm,
So to recognize our own problems and our own faults and be compassionate. I mean, for me, the key motivation of the Buddha was the cessation of suffering.
mm,
And the first noble truth is there is suffering for everyone. And recognizing that is compassion, I think. That we're all suffering in one way or another. We're all samsaric beings, and we need to learn how need to learn the cessation of suffering.
mm,
But we also have to recognize that there is suffering
mm,
everywhere in various forms, subtle forms and very unsubtle forms,
mm,
very extreme forms of suffering. But there's also many, many very subtle forms of suffering, mental suffering, emotional suffering, addictions of suffering,
mm,
you know.
yeah.
I mean, I went through that thing with alcohol. I was a
Really?
musician on the road,
Yeah,
and when I got drunk, I used to get really angry at myself.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
really angry at myself, and
yeah,
then that anger would spill out at other people.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the prime anger was I was angry at the fact that I was drunk.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
It's crazy. And
Yeah,
then it's like a vicious cycle. So I'm like, oh, I'm
yeah,
angry. I'm gonna have a drink now, and then I'm gonna
yeah,
drink
yeah. I'll
because
have a
I'm
drink,
angry.
calm down.
And it was like this mad cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm glad, like, this is probably the happiest I've been in my life, being sober and practicing Buddhism, which is like taking on
yeah,
a whole different thing. And I think that ties into, I was going to ask about healing, and in terms of, we spoke about compassion, and I think being compassionate towards yourself is incredibly healing. And I think
mm,
also, so I was abused, right, as a kid, and I've managed to find compassion for the person who actually abused me, right? And
yeah,
many years ago, I was so angry, so full of rage. And with the practices and with things like recovery, AA, and Buddhism and everything else, I've now shifted my mindset to say, I'm glad that thing happened to me because my outlook, and it's like a sense of gratitude, because my outlook now is just so wonderful because of that really difficult time then.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if that makes sense, so I think,
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
there's an old saying that obstacles are the greatest teachers.
mm,
When things
yeah,
go too smoothly, we don't learn. We don't
no,
learn anything.
no,
When we come across obstacles and deal with them, then we learn,
that's really beautiful.
you know. And so if you look at obstacles or things that we might regard as negative, as things that are bad,
Mm,
we're ignoring the fact that that's actually a learning opportunity in
absolutely.
every situation.
Mm, yeah,
And in a way, the more extreme the situation, the greater the possibility
yeah,
of transformation.
yeah. And
of
that's
the way
what, yeah,
of our habitual way of dealing or reacting.
yeah,
How can we transform that, into
yeah,
something positive? And
yeah,
also, coming back to the compassion thing, when people do really bad things or act badly, it's because they are in states of extreme suffering,
mm, yeah,
and they're projecting that suffering out
yeah.
towards other people, you know.
And I think,
Um, so it is said that we should have the greatest compassion for the people
mm,
that we dislike the most in a way,
yeah,
or that
and I
do us
think,
harm.
yeah. Um, Sorry, I lost my trail of thought. I was going to say something. Um, Compassionate for others, even the most difficult people. Yeah, it's uh, it's it's amazing that you can transform. You know, you can really transform your life if you
I mean, when I see,
do it the way. Yeah.
when I see images of people giving political speeches, and I'm not going to
Mm,
name any names, I see suffering there.
mm, yeah,
I see lack, and I see a desperation
mm,
in some very powerful people
mm,
that can't, they can't be satisfied.
no,
They don't know
exactly.
how.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
know how to find peace and contentment and
mm,
satisfaction.
yeah.
So all
Not,
they can project is pain and anger and hatred and all this sort of negative
mm.
stuff we hear
And it's
from
interesting
various.
that that kind of leads me on. I'm looking at the Zoom thing for like 8 minutes where we can
Oh,
record it, so
okay.
I'm gonna go through. But what I wanted to say was, it reminds me of one of my dear friends. He passed recently, and he had cancer, and he was suffering quite badly with the illness, and it was like quite a long, drawn out death in terms of, there was weeks of him, and then he was slowly deteriorating and stuff like that. And when we
Yeah,
think of death, or in the modern world, it's often like a really sad experience, and it was sad. I'm deep, I miss my friend. However, what I learned was, um, I feel it was like a what it's all about. And when he was dying, the amount of people that came to see him to say thank you, to show love, gratitude, and stuff like that. No one was bringing him a Ferrari car keys or a house, or it's like, no, nothing was material. It was all just
yeah,
words
yeah,
of love and stuff like that. And when I
yeah.
said to him, I said, Alan, everyone's seen you. They all love you. They absolutely fucking love you. Sorry, swear. They absolutely love you. And he said, that's what it's all about, brother. That's what it's all about. It's love.
Yeah.
And and that's what I've taken from that experience. And when I spoke to Andy Lowe the other week, I said, what's it all about? And he said it's simple. And he said it's to be
Mm.
kind and loving to others. So I'm putting this together, and it's really like just this amazing experience that I'm having in terms of realizing, it's not about the big move or the travel or everything. It's about people and connection and love and what I can
Yeah.
do positively in the world. What would be your message of, what to take away, in that regard that I've just shared with you?
Well, kindness is key, and Dalai Lama always says, "My religion is kindness,"
Mm-hmm.
because kindness is something it's easy. It's actually human nature is basically kind. We've
Mm,
been told that human nature is selfish. I think that's nonsense.
mm,
I go with the Karmapa who says that the heart is noble, and that's
mm,
everyone's heart is noble at the core, and of course in the Buddhist teachings we talk about Buddha nature, which
mm.
is our true nature. Um, sorry, I've forgotten the question in a way.
It was kind of around, so there's two words that are given to me. One was love, and the other was kindness. If you were
Yeah.
to summarize or use one word or whatever.
Well, we often use the phrase loving kindness, which is putting the
Yeah,
two together. Yeah.
yeah,
Love is
yeah,
kindness. I mean,
yeah.
and it's
Mm,
natural. It's easy. It's
mm,
not difficult. It's not a thing that's difficult to do, to be kind.
no, no.
It's actually just it's natural. And again, if you relax, you can be kind naturally
Mm, mm,
without any effort, you know, in any circumstance, really, in a way. Um, because kindness is accepted. I mean, the actual word kind, it's we're accepting that you, me, everybody, we're all of a kind.
Mm,
We're all in the same boat. We're
hmm
all human beings, and you know, and animals are also
mm,
kind
hmm
in the and all beings, all sentient beings, as I say,
yeah,
are in the same boat in
mm,
the samsaric situation.
thank you.
So if we're kind to each other, we can. It's a very practical way of dealing
Mm,
with this big problem of
yeah,
samsara, because
mm,
we're opening up when we're kind, we're opening ourselves
mm,
up. We're not closing. We're not
mm,
acting in a defensive way. You know, let the defenses down because actually, ultimately, uh, nothing can really harm us.
mm,
And it's very interesting when you're saying about your friend Alan, because I did for 2 years, pretty much regularly. Uh, I was I was a volunteer chaplain in
mm,
a hospice, so I met lots of people
yep,
that were dying. And actually, the moment of death is a moment of great peace.
yeah,
The actual moment of death.
mm,
What leads up to it can be very unpleasant,
yeah, yeah,
but then you're still alive. But what the actual moment of death is really, it's a moment of okay. I used to say to people, just now you can let go of everything. You don't have to
mm,
think about anything.
hmm
Nothing can harm you now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've got this it's in front of me here now, actually. This little text is quite short from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Bardo Todo,
hmm
which you may have heard of.
hmm
And this is what I used to read to people, which really worked, and they didn't have to be Buddhist or any sort of have any sort of belief
mm,
or underlying, could be non-belief or whatever. And it goes like this: Remember the clear light, the pure, clear light from which everything in the universe comes, to which everything in the universe returns, the original nature of your own mind, the natural state of the universe unmanifest. Let go into the clear light, trust it, merge with it. It is your own true nature. It is home.
so beautiful.
And that was Padmasambhava from Bharatara. And I never came across any case where people didn't sort of just relax.
Mm,
So I used to read that to people while they were dying, and I just got a feeling that
yeah,
that transition was just so easy because it's basically saying relax and let go,
amazing. Thank you,
into a pure, clear light,
thank you.
which is a
That
metaphor, of course,
that was
for,
so beautiful.
yeah.
And I was going to ask a different question, but I think that is going to be so good. I think I'm going to finish on that quote that
Okay.
you've just said. But I just want to say thank you so much for the things that you've shared, your inspiration, supporting the channel, and it's not again what I'm trying to stress with the channel is it's not about clicks, likes, subscribe, that kind of thing. It's about putting out a positive message into the world.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like you've really helped to achieve the goal of the channel. Um,
Well,
so
thank you for the opportunity. I mean,
yeah,
probably spoke quite a lot of nonsense. I
no,
guess it's
no, there's so much wisdom in there. It's absolutely
right.
brilliant. And I'd love to do it again when I can.
Yeah, yeah,
It says
anytime.
I've got less than 1 minute and it's going to cut me off. So I'm like,
Okay.
oh no,
Well, listen, I want to wish you every and all a fantastic journey.
thank
It's
you,
going to be a wonderful adventure for you. You're
thank
going to
you
have
so much,
lots of opportunities to transform
thank you,
and to express kindness
awesome,
to
thank you
yourself
so much,
and to others. So thank you,
thank you,
Alex.
Palden. Thank you.
Bon
Take
voyage.
care. See you later. Thank you.
Yeah.